We here at the Sports History Network proudly partner with 26 podcasts, all revolving around the history of sports. But did you know that many of our hosts were sports history authors way before they started their shows? It's true. We've got Joe Ziemba, host of When Football Was Football, Joe Zagurski, host of Pro Football in the 1970s, Mark Morthier, host of Yesterday's Sports, Tommy Phillips, host of Lombardi Memories, and Scott Adamson, co-host of From the 55-Yard Line. All these authors have many books for you to choose from. To check them out, go to our website at sportshistorynetwork.com/sportshistorybooks. Pick up your copy today. Soundtrack provided by Kevin MacLeod of filmmusic.io.
We're going to talk about a gentleman that seems to come up in quite a few of our historic football discussions, and Howard Schnellenberger. We want to take the time and find out the full story on just who Coach Howard Schnellenberger was and what made him famous in gridiron lore. His story comes up in just a moment.
This is the Pigskin Daily History Dispatch, a podcast that covers the anniversaries of American football events throughout history on a day-to-day basis. Your host, Darren Hayes, is podcasting from America's North Shore to bring you the memories of the gridiron, one day at a time. So as we come out of the tunnel of the Sports History Network, let's take the field and go no huddle through the portal of positive gridiron history with pigskindispatch.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Hello, my football friends. This is Darren Hayes of pigskindispatch.com. Welcome once again to the Pig Pen, your portal to all things positive in football. And we are here to talk about a very positive individual that really made the coaching ranks of college football and even the pros in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. Just a tremendous place to be, especially really advanced the careers of some prominent players that you well know of. And we're going to talk about them too as we talk about Coach Howard Schnellenberger. And we've had the name and coaching that's popped up quite a bit recently and telling the story of football history, a lot of different individuals, and you're going to hear a little bit about that here in a second. And that being Coach Howard Schnellenberger. He really was part of the success of so many players and teams during his illustrious collegiate and professional coaching career. I really think you'll be quite amazed at his story and all the accomplishments and great teams that he was involved with. I know I was. This legendary coach did everything from recruiting one of the top quarterback prospects when he was only an assistant to performing some of the greatest transformations in college football history, from a bottom feeder team to a top national program in just a few short years. The coach was born March 16th, 1934 in St. Meinrad, Indiana. Now, he graduated from Flaggett High School in Louisville, Kentucky, where he played football, basketball, and a little bit of baseball before earning a scholarship to the University of Kentucky. While at Flaggett High, he would meet one of his lifelong closest friends, Paul Hornig. I guess from what people are saying, Hornig is the only one that did not need to knock on Schnellenberger's office door before entering. They were just that good of friends. Now, Schnellenberger played his college football as an end for the Kentucky Wildcats, and was a pretty solid player, too. He was so good that he was named 1955 All-American by the Associated Press and the Newspaper Enterprise Association. Great Wildcats end. Howard Schnellenberger. After graduation, he stayed in the helmet and traveled up north to play a couple of seasons for the CFL's Toronto Argonauts. And when he reached the end of his playing days, he returned to Kentucky to act as an assistant coach for the Wildcats under head coach Blanton Collier for 1959 and 1960 seasons. We've talked about Collier quite a few times as well. When Schnellenberger coached under Collier at Kentucky, there were two other young assistants there also gaining wisdom from the old coach, Don Shula and Bill Arnsparker. Now, Schnellenberger and Shula would remain their friendship and coaching relationship for years to come, as you shall soon see will be revealed to you in this story. Well, Howard moved further south in 1961 to serve in the same capacity as assistant coach for another legendary head coach, Paul Bear Bryant at Alabama. While on Bryant's staff with the Crimson Tide, Schnellenberger helped recruit quarterbacks Joe Namath and Ken Stabler to the program and helped coach Alabama to 3 national championships. First one, 1961, his first year there, 1964, and 1965. That was 3 in 5 seasons he was there. The recruitment of Namath was one of his biggest accomplishments while on the staff at Bama. Joe Namath, you see, was at first interested in attending the University of Maryland, but his parents, and in particular his mother, were not keen on the school. She wanted to keep her options open for her son until the right offer came. When Maryland failed to accept Joe because of his grades, he was a little bit disappointed, to say the least. And the recruitment connection paid off, though, as Maryland's coach, Tom Nugent, was a good friend of Paul Bear Bryant at Alabama, and he put in a good word for Namath. Coach Bryant was extremely interested in the prospect, so he sent his top man, assistant coach Howard Schnellenberger, to visit the Namath household in the Pittsburgh area. And when the time came for Schnellenberger to leave, Namath's mother was on board and convinced that Alabama was the place for her son to play. Now, it's reported also that Coach Howard recruited quarterback Ken Stabler to Alabama just a few years later with a little bit different tactic. Wise old coach. He gave Stabler's mother a fifth of bourbon, as he said he was on the road quite a bit that season for Bryant. He says, quote, "A 3-day recruiting trip turned into 10 days, unquote, Schnellenberger said. And he said he was out of money and he had to buy a plane ticket to return home. So he ended up writing a bad check to Eastern Airlines to get all the way back to Alabama. So it was a long trip for him. Now, Schnellenberger left Alabama in 1966 to take a job with the National Football League to coach the ends under head man George Allen with the LA Rams. And we'll get back to more of that story here right after this message from our sponsor. Right now, I want you to know that support for Pigskin Dispatch is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trusted Manscaped with this exclusive offer to you from Pigskin Dispatch and Manscaped. You'll get 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code PIGSKIN at manscaped.com. And if my math's correct, that's about 8 million balls that are treated. Manscaped is a great product. I've tried it myself, and I'll tell you what, it really refreshes you and makes you feel a little bit extra pep in your step as you walk around, from my own experience. So try Manscaped and get that 20% off bundle with the word PIGSKIN at manscaped.com. All right, now let's get back to that story on Howard Schnellenberger. So he left Alabama early 1966 after some, 3 championships, national championships with Paul Bear Bryant on his staff. To take a job in the National Football League, to coach the ends for George Allen, head coach George Allen with the Los Angeles Rams. Now, with Allen leaving Los Angeles a few years later, Schnellenberger headed to Miami to help out his old friend Don Shula with the receivers with the Miami Dolphins. He stayed in South Beach for a couple more years, including the 1972 undefeated season and taking home the Lombardi victory in Super Bowl VII for the Dolphins, as they had quite a phenomenal season, one of the most memorable pro football seasons of all time, undefeated in a Super Bowl championship. Only team that's ever done that so far. After a few seasons there, he had his own experience as a head coach of an NFL squad with the Baltimore Colts. His first season with the Blue Horseshoe was a rough one, as they went 4-10, but the squad did upset the defending champ Dolphins, his former employers, and his good friend Don Shula near the end of the season to help things feel just a little bit tad better with a 4-10 record. But during the 1974 season, things really came to a head. Schnellenberger insisted on starting quarterback Marty Dorms, a signal caller, while owner Robert Irsay insisted that Burt Jones should be the QB1 for the team. Irsay ended up dismissing his coach soon after the season for this main reason, and some quippy retorts from the coach that really miffed the team owner at the time. Howard then quickly returned to Miami to work with Shula again until a bigger offer came. Well, that happened in 1979 when a nearby struggling University of Miami offered Schnellenberger their sideline post, and he accepted. Now, Schnellenberger came to the Hurricanes and was responsible for a turnaround in UM football from a 5-6 record in 1979 to 11-1 and a national championship in 1983. It was Miami's first national title, and it put the school on a map as a top contender for years to come in the realm of football. Quite a remarkable culture change in just 4 years. And with his 41-16 coaching record, Schnellenberger owns the fourth highest winner percentage at 719 in the University of Miami history. He started a trend of recruiting Jim Kelly, of making the Hurricane program considered by many to be the quarterback university, when players such as Bernie Kosar, Vinny Testaverde, and others rolled through the program even after Schnellenberger had left that program. Not only did he turn around the program at Miami, but Coach Schnellenberger later revitalized his hometown Louisville Cardinals and built Florida Atlantic football from scratch, leaving an indelible mark on 3 college football programs. He ended his coaching tenure with a 153, 151, and 3 record, but brought many student athletes around to be the best that they could be and changed the fortune of more than one college football program. As of right now, this great coach is not in the College Football Hall of Fame, but it's hoped that he soon will be, because he's greatly earned that honor. And unfortunately, we lost Howard Schnellenberger at the age of 87 a few years ago, and what a tragic loss for him. But his mark on football and his memories should be remained, and that's what we try to do here, is preserve football history and the great people that made it just something a little bit more special, adding just their little touches to it. And definitely Coach Howard Schnellenberger did that, in fact, with all the, you can see, we've touched on him when we talked about Joe Namath and a little bit about Ken Stabler and the Dolphins and the University of Miami. You can see this man's connections, and he's just, everywhere he went, he put a little bit of success into the cultures of the programs and franchises that he was in. And that's why he is such a special individual, and that's why we salute him today and remember him as one of the greats of the game. Hope you enjoyed this little bit of history. Tune in tomorrow for some more great football history, as we do each and every day here on the Pigskin Dispatch. Till tomorrow, everybody, have a great gridiron day. Peeking up at the clock, the time's running down. We're going to go into victory formation, take a knee, and let this baby run out. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back tomorrow for the next podcast. We invite you to check out our website, pigskinddispatch.com, not only to see the daily football history, but to experience positive football with our many articles on the good people of the game, as well as our own football comic strip, Cleat Marks Comics. Pigskinddispatch.com is also on social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all of your positive football news and history. A special thanks to the talents of Mike and Jean Monroe, as well as Jason Neff, for letting us use their music during our podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
It was just another ordinary day in the offices of the Pittsburgh Guardian newspaper circa 1924. But for Marla Delft, assistant editor, everything was about to change. For she was about to discover the awesome attractiveness of Row 1 brand retro sports paraphernalia items thanks to Orville Mulligan, sports writer.
And there it is.
Wow, Orville, that's really the bee's knees.
Isn't it just? A poster-sized replica of the actual 1909 World Series program cover.
I can see that. But where did you get it? And where'd you get it framed?
I ordered it from the Row 1 website, where over 6,000 items of sports memorabilia from the 1880s to the 1990s are available for reproduction, in multiple sizes and in several different materials, with over a dozen styles of frame to choose from for prints like this.
Well, I'm sure Mr. Delft would love to put up more of these in the office. But I'm equally as sure they're beyond this newspaper's budget.
Not at all, my dear Marla. See for yourself. Go to sportshistorynetwork.com/row1.
sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. Oh my, these are good prices. Oh, and look at this stuff. Oklahoma-Nebraska football, college basketball art, Michael Jordan items.
And so it
retro
was that
sports
Marla Delft
advertisement
discovered the
placards.
splendiferous magic of Row 1 sports memorabilia, arts, and prints. You can too by visiting sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. That's ROW1 today for access to the full Row 1 catalog of gallery prints and gifts like t-shirts, long-sleeve shirts, telephone cases, coffee mugs, blankets, pillows, towels, and even shower curtains. Act today for 15% discount off all prints with coupon code SHN15 and 20% off all other items with coupon code SHN20 at checkout. And keep your dial locked to the Sports History Network for the exciting chronicles of the 1920 sports world in Orville Mulligan, Sports Writer. Coming soon.